You're welcome to mention we're here if we can answer any questions from the counseling realm.
Excellent.
Okay.
All right, Beth.
We ready?
We're ready.
Okay, this is so exciting. We're starting with our
Thursday afternoon.
family once a month gathering. And what is this one called?
Homeschool tips for success. Yeah.
Okay, and so I'm going to start talking about pacing your curriculum to cover the year, because I think sometimes we get our curriculum, we're all excited, yay, we're going to start working. How do we map it out so that we finish it hopefully by the end of the year? And so, and then Tracy was going to talk about organization, and Joan's going to talk about curriculum fidelity. Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then anybody that wants to jump in and add something to it or ask questions, just do it, because this is like a free-for-all. Okay? Okay. So I'm beginning with pacing, and I thought of 3 things that you need to get started with pacing your curriculum. Our handy dandy important dates, magnet or flyer, a calendar, which we just got some in the mail, but Tracy might have some more information about that. Preferably an academic calendar that goes from July to June, since Raven's school year goes July to June. And actually in my office, and Polly has one too, the big wall calendars, really nice. And then your table of contents from your curriculum. And I brought a couple examples of ones that are pretty common. Matthew C. The instructor manual, just going to the beginning and looking at your table of contents. Matthew C. has typically 30 lessons, and if you divide it in half, then you're at 15. So halfway through the year, quarter 2, you should be at lesson 15, and then divide that into 2 more, and that'll give you quarter 1, 2, 3, and 4. One of the things that I didn't mention about the calendar when you're looking at your school year, not just the important dates, but because we're homeschool and we get to do things a little differently, schedule in those family vacations that you have planned throughout the year. That way you can look, if you're taking a family vacation in January, you can plan ahead and maybe work those Christmas weeks that other people are taking off so that you're prepared for curriculum in January. Another one all about reading. This one goes all the way up to lesson 53. So again, just looking at your curriculum, dividing it into fourths, and that way you know where you expect to be at all the different quarters. Mazdos Press is another one. Now I was looking at this because there were 2 huge books, but all of your lesson plans are in each book. This one looks a little different. Come on in, find a spot. It's divided by units instead of just a whole list of lessons. And I think it goes up to 6.
6 units.
Yes. Unit 5. Oops. I thought there were 6. Yes. Unit 6. So it gets a little trickier. You know, you want to be through Unit 3 by the end of quarter 2. It might, and these aren't really listed like lesson 1, so it might be a little tricky trying to figure out how to divide the lessons. But always, you can check in with one of us or a friend that's an expert at homeschooling. Yeah, it's doable. And 2 more that I wanted to show you. This is where Holly's got me being techie here. Acellus is used by a lot of our families, and I'm going to show you how to map out or look at all the steps for each class in those, and teaching textbooks too.
Switch, yeah, so just switch to which tab you want.
Okay. So this one I was looking at teaching textbooks, pre-algebra, and it's really nice. I really appreciate this because you can scroll down and just click on their table of contents. Table of contents.
Loading.
Oh, no, where'd it go? Oh, here it is. Oh no, I see it. I'm gonna have to click. How do I find that?
Did it open
It's
it
on
up?
a PDF.
Oh, so then just stop sharing and then switch what you're sharing.
Okay.
Go back to share. Pick you should see Adobe.
There it is. They're cool. Yep. Yay. Scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. Scroll down. Wow. Yep. So 139 with tests built in. So, yeah, they don't count the tests. You have to kind of add a test on for each one.
This also is, I've used this for progress summaries too. You can just highlight, if you did 20 of them, you just highlight the first 20 lessons because it tells you every single thing, that it gives a title of each lesson.
Right.
It makes for a lengthy one, but if it's cut and paste, it's not like you're typing it.
And and that brings up, of course, this isn't the progress report meeting, but
That's next month.
yeah, but
So we
it's
don't have to
still,
wait too much.
you'll still know, like, I'm on lesson whatever 20 of 139, so that's going to help with progress reporting. Okay, and the other one that I want to show is not that one. Google, right?
Yeah, but you were on the right spot. You just want to switch tabs.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. My PDF is still on. Okay. Acellus. So when you log in on Acellus, thank you, Megan. As a parent, you see this. So here's our Donald Russell, our student.
Sample student.
Yeah, our sample student. So when you come into your parent view, let's look at his personal finance. Whoops. Oh, the syllabus. Okay. Go to the syllabus, pick your subject. And so these are all the lessons that are going to be in that Acellus class. You can just scroll down to the bottom and you find out how many steps, how many lessons there are in the Acellus class. So that'll help you with mapping out Acellus. Okay.
Beth, can you comment? I've always been confused about the whole star thing on Acellus and being on track or we don't want to go there.
I don't know.
Sometimes it seems accurate and then other times it doesn't.
Yeah.
Well, you can set how many lessons you do a day. So the star just shows up if you've done the amount of lessons you're supposed to do that day. And then it just tracks it every week. So the truth is you can get all the stars and still be very far behind.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a real key point for parents to know.
Yeah, so that's why mapping it by looking at the syllabus and knowing how many steps there actually are.
And then you go in and you put how many steps there are. Yeah, you actually, not you guys, but
Like
as the parent, you go in and you say like, okay, for this to be done every day, I have to do this many steps. And then you can actually manually go in and program, this is how many steps I want done for each class.
Oh, nice. So this will help do that.
So you figure out the pace and then you put it in the computer.
Okay.
Once or daily or what?
No, there's a little thing, and you put it in, and it'll say how many steps you want to do a day.
For each class?
Yeah,
For
for
each one would be different,
each
right?
class would be different. So you look at it, and you're like, because I've had it before where we're behind, and so I'll go in and I'll be like, okay, she has to do like 10 lessons today.
So do you go into?
But you just do it once.
Is that through Power Homeschool or is that through RSLS?
There's a screen that as a parent you can reach, and yeah.
So you're
So
using
this-
this one?
I've done it for both, I
Oh,
think.
you have? Okay, perfect.
So
I-
as this is the parent screen, what tab would you go to?
I have to remember. it's like the one.
There's
Or-
today's word.
I'd have to
The
go into
monitor, there's a
those.
no.
It's not. It's like it's a screen that has all the information on it. So it's like something like edit student account. I bet it's something like that. Edit student.
Oh, in the
account.
upper right-hand corner?
It's probably something like that.
Yeah.
And so maybe I've only done it on the, or maybe it's like in the beginning or under students, maybe.
Oh, that's our only.
Manage account. Try manage account.
I think being able to set them up, the stars on individual classes for individual days is only if you're using Power Homeschool, because then the
Oh yeah, so it must be just for yourself.
So that's where having the syllabus and being able to see how many.
Would you mind, Beth, going back to the home screen and maybe just toggling over to the score tab so parents can actually see
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Because that's actually a really good point to show as well while we're talking. So if you click on the score tab as a parent, you'll see the gold star highlighted. But one thing that I try to encourage families to look at is that progress score. And kind of what Beth was talking about with the pacing. I mean, ideally, you want to be at 25% progress by quarter one, because if you take all the quarters and divide by, obviously, the whole year. So that, I really try to refer families not to just like you said, rely on the gold star, but to really look at the progress.
What if you hover over the goals, just that, does anything happen? Or go up to the,
I think I said it as Raven.
So this is neat. Their gold star isn't highlighted there in grade 1 language arts. So when I hovered over it, and you might have to be on the web browser, it might not work on your phone, because I know a lot of families check on their phone. When I hovered over it, it says 18 steps remaining to meet goals. So
Yes,
that's kind of an.
I wonder if that's.
Yeah, you set the goal.
Yeah.
Like that. It doesn't really tell you anything unless you've set the pace to what you want it to be.
Yeah, that might be based on our Raven.
Yeah, I wonder if that's something teachers can do on their end.
yeah, I thought whoever, well, it would be Ruth's, who sets all the classes up, I thought she set them all up to end on May 15th or something.
So, yes, but we can go in there and change the end date because I have some students that need to be finished
Yeah.
by December, and that did change the number of
Oh, yeah.
steps
Yeah.
that they had to take to meet their yellow star goal.
Yes.
Yeah, I think maybe we're gonna need to have an Acellus
Yeah.
workshop.
Yeah.
I think that one's November or December.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Bring down Ruth.
Okay.
Yes.
Any questions so far? Okay. Get my.
Oh, I brought something. Oh yeah, because I'm really bad at pacing.
Yeah.
So I made this year, and might be just me being like showing off, but
No.
so I made that in Excel for each kid, and then I keep it in the folder, and then I have one in their box, and then that way it's just going a lot better. That's all I have to say.
That's awesome.
So I started doing it last year, and it worked, and so now we're doing this year, and it's going on better. Because in the past, it's not.
Well, it's helpful for both the parents and the kids. Like, it benefits both sides.
And it's harder to argue with a schedule versus a parent. It's really easy to argue with a parent,
Yeah.
but if it's just a piece of paper, not as much emotion right there.
Yeah, is that
That's what I like about papers and schedules.
Yeah, and that's a great introduction into kind of what my thought was. Will it, oh, do I have to go over there?
No, it's following you.
So will people online be able to see me if I stand over here? Okay, so my kind of section, again, and I love that what you shared, because this is kind of like Beth said, an open format. We really want to hear what's working for you, or if you have questions, what we can help you with. So, and I realize those online, if you do need to kind of interrupt us on here, just kind of do a little Yahoo or hey, excuse me, something so that we can stop and listen.
Sorry, trying to get it focused on a little bit more over there.
It's really focused. Okay, so pretty much my little chat to you or encouragement to you is to maybe think about your year. And when I homeschooled, I really relied on a planner. And I realize now, compared to when I homeschooled many, many years ago, that they look considerably different than when I homeschooled. I mean, now there's digital versions and stuff you can print off online, just a myriad of choices. But for me, it just really, really helped me get a big picture view of what I was trying to do with my kiddos at home. So I would just encourage you to get some kind of planner. She's got a wonderful method. You did yours on Excel, right? Just a kind of a digital format. I was very traditional again because this was kind of several years ago. So I just actually picked up a planner. This is not my favorite one. In fact, I'm really sad because I've moved many, many times and kept all of my planners. Could I find them last night? No, I could not find them anywhere. I had my husband up in attics very sweetly looking through boxes, still could not find them. So that's okay. But I want to just encourage you that this was my lifesaver when I was homeschooling. And really, it didn't have everything in it. It just was my go-to if I needed the big picture of what we were doing. So I started and I tried to find one, and this actually has one. The way I would start is when I would go to this big, kind of what Beth said that Holly and her have on the wall. It's just like a year-long calendar. And it has everything, every year, every day of the year on here. And what I did and what I would encourage you to do is just start here. Start looking at the whole year. And it sounds kind of daunting, but just hang with me for a second. So just circle your start date. Pick a start date and circle it. I realize things come up. Maybe curriculum doesn't show up on time. Maybe family gets sick. Maybe you get called out of town. But regardless, pick a date. Just circle it, highlight it, circle it, and then also pick an end date, because we can all celebrate when we're done, and we can have parties and be super excited when we're done. So pick a start date, pick an end date. Kind of also what Beth said, which I agree. Maybe if you have family trips coming up, maybe spring break, Christmas break, you have your husband's going to go on a trip that you want to join in on, highlight that, mark it off, schedule it off already. So again, you're kind of focusing on this big picture. Then, after all of that is done, this might seem a little odd, but as a former homeschool parent to other homeschool parents, oftentimes what I wanted to do is I would get my big curriculum box and I would be like, okay, I'm ready. I'm just ready to start diving into all the little details. But what I found year after year after year that bogged me down the most was more of the extra things I wanted to do instead of the math, the language arts, the writing. Because we had piano, we had horseback riding lessons, we had parent workshops, we had art classes. So I made a list, and I actually was reading up on some other current homeschool, ideas too, because it's been a while. And another mom did this, and she said she pretty much sat down with her kids, she sat down with her husband, and she made a list of what they want to do. And aside, this is not just math and writing. This is, what do you want to do? Do you want to learn how to paint? Do you want to do this homeschool class? Do you want to do this? And they made a list. And then they obviously looked at that list and said, okay, what can we do? Because obviously we can't do everything. What can we do? And we kind of made a list. And I remember doing this with my own kids. And then, of course, the final straw in our family was, of course, the husband. We had to run everything by him because he knew who I was really well. And he knew I would try to tackle the world. And he would actually say, whoo, rein in just a little bit. Just slow down. Because I think as parents, we want to give them everything.
And sometimes as homeschool parents, we get the pressure of not doing enough. We always put it on ourselves, am I doing enough? Am I providing enough for them? You are. I just want to encourage you that you are, but really think about your outside activities before you start planning anything else. Think about what you want to do, what you can do, and then more importantly, what you're able to do. That's one of my big takeaways. And then, of course, once all that's done, then you pick what you can do. I actually took my planner and I put those in first. And the reason is because I wanted to show my kids those are obviously important to you. They're important to me because they're important to you. Obviously, math is important to me because I want you to know how to add. I want you to know how to multiply. I want you to know how to read. But I also know that horseback riding is really important to you, Hannah. So we're gonna put it in here, and we did. And so that's what we did. We started with the fun things or the extra things. We put them in our planner, and then I went back and he's really liking this red. I went in and then we just started, okay, that's on my calendar, that's in my planner. Let's go back and dig into the classes now. Let's put in what we're going to do each week. One thing I also did that was really helpful, and again, I'm a visual person. I think Joan said this too. She's very visual. On my year-long calendar, I X'd out the weekends. I did. I just highlighted, I closed them off. Because one thing that it did when you're homeschooling and you're taking on the responsibility as a parent, it shortens your window in your mind. You're like, oh my goodness. Because if you just look at a calendar, you think, I've got to do all this. I've got to do all this for my kids every single day. Well, no, because typically you're not doing a Saturday or Sunday. Typically you're taking off a couple days a week. It mentally made it seem doable, if that makes any sense. So that's another little tip. Okay, so basically I would take my classes just like Beth had already talked about. I would kind of map out in a big picture, again, format, what I wanted my kiddos to do each week. And sometimes we chunked it. I tried to hit math and language arts every day. We did it 4 days a week. Our Friday was left for catch up and friend school. And that's a whole nother topic. I led some homeschool pods and co-ops. And so that was a fun day for us. And we left it for Fridays. So in my little planner for my kiddos, I would put, math and language arts every day. We did not do science every day because that was part of our friend school. So I put on my planner what days I did science, what days I did art. And I would start out like every teacher and mom being pretty detailed because you're just ready to go and pretty, how do I say this? My expectations were quite large at the beginning of the year. And so I really wish I had these to show you guys because I chuckle at it now, but I mean, honestly, the square wasn't big enough to write everything you wanted to get done in a day. And yet, as you go on and as you start filling in the squares as the year goes on, less and less is there because you realize this is what we're able to get done in a day. So I also want you to know that is perfectly normal and it's fine. But one of the things too that I did that helped me, so I had a parent ask me this, not this time, but a while ago. So Tracy, when you were kind of planning your calendar, your planner, did you do a month at a time? Did you do a week at a time? Did you do 2 weeks at a time? I started out doing a very detailed week-long plan. And I quickly found out, well, one, we didn't accomplish 2/3 of what I had written down, especially my first year. And so what happened is obviously, as you know, if you have something written down for this week, and then you have something written down for this week, and it's equally expected to get through all of it, you have a lot of scribbles very quickly and arrows and, oh no, X's or frowny faces or something. I know sometimes smiley faces too. But so what I did is as it transformed and kind of morphed into more of a pacing guide is what it did. Is because each week, I planned a week at a time. It just ended up working well for me that way because I could look back at our week and say, you know what, we just blew through math. this is pretty cool. We're going to jump ahead and do it here. Or maybe we all got sick and we didn't get anything done this week. So I did it weekly. I set aside, a little bit of time Sunday afternoons to write and plan for the next week. And that worked well for me. So obviously it doesn't, and also before that, I had all the big things written down, remember? So it's like I already had my afternoon schedules or my horseback riding or my piano or whatever, hockey. All of it was already in there. So it was the detailed stuff that I could add from week to week to week. And then I just want to end by saying and again, this is a little tearful because all my kids are gone now, out of the house, but these really are very precious to look back from year to year. And not just from year to year, but when you finish a year and in your homeschool planner, it is so rewarding to look back and see what you have accomplished with your child and more importantly, what your child has accomplished. It's well worth it, well worth it. So what I did is I kind of Googled just the top 10 homeschool planners. and this website was actually really neat. It was a couple homeschool moms that actually reviewed some homeschool planners that are out there right now. And so I did make a couple copies for you. Those of you that are online, I have a PDF that I shared with Holly that she can send to you as well. But if you're interested, and if you don't have one, maybe planners are for you. They're not going to hurt my feelings. I'm sorry, did you say something?
Yeah, would I be able to get one of those PDFs too?
And I'm going to link it all in the newsletter tomorrow.
Yes, and yes. And Holly's going to link it in our newsletter tomorrow. But anyway, if you're interested, there's some handouts here that go through pros and cons, what each one has in them. And then the very last, I think I did kind of copy and paste it in here for you, but the very last one was the one she actually chose and why, which I thought was really kind of clever. So that's for you. Again, I can't stress enough how important it is just to have something written down for routine, consistency, and reflection. So, any questions or anything? Just let me know. Anybody have anything else to add?
The only thing I would add is remember to put in things like I'm going grocery shopping and this is my cleaning schedule and things like that, because I've had it where homeschool just took over our life and I didn't want to stop, and so but yeah, I think it's good to put in things like, hey, this is our laundry day also.
That's great. I love that because you have to live life. You cannot stop those things. That's great. Chores. Chores are good.
I call them flavors of love. That's what I would write on Saturday.
Oh, yes.
And then I'd write the chores, and then I'd leave a blank, and then I'd say
We have
sign
this
up
as a
for
PDF to send
3
to.
by noon on Saturday. And so they got a little bit of choice. The first one up. Okay, we've been talking a lot. Any questions or reflections so far? I know Tracy just asked, but no? Okay. I'm going to talk about fidelity to curriculum. Anybody have any thoughts that come to mind? Do you cringe? Do you jump up and down in excitement? Okay, don't know what it means. That's good. Anybody else? All right. My coworkers can tell you I'm a very sequential person, am I not? I get into routines and watch out. I'm going to do them until I die. But fidelity to curriculum is, so curriculums just don't pop out of the sky. There's a lot of research behind them, especially language arts and math for sequence, and there's been brain studies, child development, that there is a certain order that you learn to read. Not every single child, of course, but the general knowledge. So fidelity to the curriculum is you are teaching it as it is supposed to be taught. And most of the major curriculums will have a teacher's guide. And so it's very easy, but I've had parents and I've had to practice yoga breathing when they tell me that, I just let my child open the book and pick where they want to start today. And I'm like, no! There's a reason we start on page 1 and we finish on page 231 or whatever the end is. They build on each other. Their language arts and math are the most important to have this curriculum fidelity. Science and social studies, there's a common theme. History repeats itself. And in schooling, it's very true. My kids did American history in elementary school, they did it in middle school, and they did it in high school. I don't think they did in college, but whatever. They did Western Civ. Science, again, when they get to high school, yeah, you'll do a sequence, usually, if you're in the brick and mortar schools. But you can do a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you can combine grades and all that. But language arts and math are the most important to follow the curriculum that is in the sequence that it's presented, not to do the popcorn, today I feel like this, or this picture looks more interesting, so we're going to skip ahead. And you'll find with your own kids, maybe you don't have to teach phonics very long to one kid, but the other kid you have to do turtle time to. And so you do have to cater it to each kid, but my big advice is don't gloss over stuff, and that's the fidelity, it's faithfulness to a curriculum. There's a lot of research and a lot of brain work that goes into all these curriculums, at least ones that we approve. And that's what fidelity to the curriculum is teaching it as it's supposed to be. And I did print out a couple, I just went online, and one of them has the definition for fidelity was an adherence to the essential ingredients, the quality of your teaching, the frequency and duration, and responsiveness. And that's the check for understanding with the kids. And that's because sometimes, like I said earlier, some will get it right away, others you'll have to go back and review, or reteach, or teach a different way, or like math, a lot of times you put in manipulatives if they're not getting it so they can have that concrete piece. So that's kind of it. Any questions as far as fidelity? Or?
One thing came to mind because you're talking about the rate at which maybe your students progress differently, and this gets confusing because your first child may be a fast reader, so then it's really important to realize that you're not going to rush through necessarily with the subsequent kids.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, each child is very different. I've had 3, and yeah, all 3 of them are like, well, why don't you get it? Your brother got it, or, so it is interesting to see them develop. And my 3 kids went through elementary, they went through the Juno schools here, and I loved their kindergarten and first grade teachers, but they did the whole language approach to learn to read, and I love literature, but in 3rd grade, all of them were pulled to have reading intervention, and it was just phonics, but they didn't get any phonics in her in 1st grade or 2nd, and so by 3rd grade, and anyway, so I found that interesting. And noteworthy. So moving forward.
Well, it's actually really good to know that because when I started with Sione when he was in kindergarten, there was the Thomas Jefferson education thing, and I was trying to use all these different books, and I was trying to follow that, and it really kind of threw us off for a while.
Yeah.
And I was told things like, you don't have to finish the whole book. And it was like math,
yeah.
And I was like, and you're like, yeah, you kind of have to finish the whole book. Just little things like, that, if you just naturally expose them to things, then all will work out and stuff.
Yeah.
And then after about 3rd grade, I'm like, this isn't naturally working out.
Yeah.
I'm like, and so it took me a while, but I was like, okay, I really have to actually, for some subjects, not all subjects.
And each
but
kid
math,
is different. I was one of those kids that entered kindergarten reading. I had 4 older siblings, and my mom was a teacher, but I truly don't ever remember learning how to read. I just remember, reading. I picked up a book and read, where not my 3 children would not do that. And I was a little mad that they didn't. but they were more analytical like their dad. And so they were pulling these out of literature in like first grade, and I'm going, how did you do that? Because I could comprehend, but it was pretty funny. They had trouble with the decoding, but they were really advanced with comprehension and the higher skills. And so I'm like, okay. So anyway, fidelity is important. And then you did mention about getting to the end of the curriculum, because I'll have those Q4 progress reports, and I get a phone call, they're panicked, they're saying, we're only on, we got sick, we got COVID for 10 days and, whatever. And we only got to lesson 30 and there's 34. And I'm like, that's fine. Just finish it over the summer on the rainy days. Do finish it. But as far as we're concerned, and we mark it in the progress summary saying we got to 30 out of 34. We plan to finish the last 4 lessons throughout the summer so that when we start in the fall, that we will have completed that curriculum. So, there's leeway. And I remember my kids bringing home workbooks that weren't done till the last page either. And we had every intention of doing them over summer. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. But, so there's reality. But, to the best of your abilities, use the teaching edition and do it in the sequence that it's presented as much as you can. That's what the fidelity to curriculum is. Yes. No,
but the other thing I learned was like, if a curriculum is really not working for you, it's okay to dump it.
Yes, definitely.
Because that's what happened with my math, and you know it, and now everybody's a lot more happy.
Yeah. And if your kid's frustrated and crying, and you're crying, that's time to call your advisory teacher and say, this isn't working. Do you have any other suggestions? And to talk to other homeschool parents. Because we haven't done all the curriculums, and especially if you know someone else is using it, and someone who knows your kids, they might say, "Oh yeah, I remember Sione, and he learns this way. This would be the way he's learning stuff." So, yeah, there's all sorts of experts out there.
Yeah, I definitely, I agree with that, because we were working on one curriculum, and we were trying to use it for a while, probably longer than we should have, and then I was looking through different things, and I was looking into maybe a little bit earlier step, like one step before where we were. We found out that was a much better fit, and it really, it helps your children to feel good about what they're doing when they feel like, they're able to get it and everything. And so the other one just wasn't quite where we needed to be at that time, and getting that other one was like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah. And the more the kids can express too their learning styles and what is working and what isn't, that'll help them too, their whole life, essentially. I think I was in college before I got my learning style, but we can do another workshop on learning style. Any questions? Okay.
No more Q&A.
Yes, I don't know.
All right. Well, I'll do my little portion, and then if there's more questions at that point, we can do more questions. Let's see. Okay. So I'm going to, there's 2 different handouts on the table there with different kinds of resources. And I put, for those of you online, I put the links in the chat box. And then in the weekly newsletter that we'll send out tomorrow, I'll also have all the resources that we talked about today linked in there, so that you'll have the links that each of these have on them. You don't have them. There you go. So that way you'll have the links right on there also. And these are just some great resources to be aware of as you start out the year, because there are so many great things that you will have access to as a Raven family, both for free and at reduced amounts and stuff. We want to make sure that families know what they have available to them. So let me start my screen share here. This first one, it says free instructional resources. It is a list that we compiled 2 years ago when COVID hit, and we had this flood of people coming in, and all of the curriculum vendors were totally overwhelmed with, processing orders, and so people weren't getting their curriculum until September, October, kind of a thing, or late September or October, November. And so everybody was panicking, going, what do I do until I get my curriculum? And so we put this together, this list of instructional resources of things that you could be doing while you're waiting for your curriculum to come, things to keep the kids engaged. Maybe you need some supplement or, additional something to go along with it. These are all great resources for that. There's the title of it, a brief description, and then the link. I want to learn more about Quizlet because it sounds super cool, and I haven't learned about it myself yet, but I think it would be awesome for my husband in his classroom as he's teaching, so I kind of want to learn about it and then tell him about it and get him engaged. But there's like all these really cool resources on it that we put together. So there's both free options and low-cost options, some different links to different places, Brain Pop Junior, some fun stuff there. So I just wanted to share that again. We had it on our website for a while. I'm not sure if it's still there, but there are some really great resources. And then today I worked on putting together some other resources of things that sometimes parents don't realize they have access to, and I just want to remind you of where to look for them. First off is the Brightways Resources tab, because sometimes this gets hidden and you don't necessarily notice that it's there. Before we go to the Resources tab, this is a little test student. I want to show you this because a lot of the resources are going to reference your district credentials. So when you're looking at your parent dashboard here, you're going to see your students that are enrolled. This one is a test family that doesn't have a current enrollment, so you're not going to see everything here, but when you look across, you've got your computers, you can see information, your contact information, if you need to edit your contact, or like change where your mailing address is, that's the spot to do that. But in the credentials tab right here is where it'll list all of your kids' names. It'll list an email address for them. It's not literally like an email address that you get email at, but it's what serves as the username for all these things, because most websites or most of these spots, when you get access to them, I'll show each of the different ones to you, it'll say email address or username, and that's kind of what we use for it. It's generated based on the student's ID number, so it's like S and then the student's ID number at ravenhomeschool.com, something like that. The password is a combination of like a simple word and some numbers, and they'll be listed here on your dashboard. External email, there'll be a check mark there or a box that you can check if you want to say, yes, my student is over 13 and can receive emails, and then they could actually use that email address as an email address. So that's something that you can turn on yourself if you want to do that. And then in the licenses spot, if there's a check mark there, that means that your licenses have been activated. If there's not a check mark, and you want access to these cool things I'm about to show you, you can either do it yourself or you can have us do it for you. Because this one doesn't have any active students, it doesn't have them listed here, but normally there would be a little edit button, and you can click that little edit button, and that's where you can check the box to say, yes, I want a license set up. So the reason we do that is so that we don't, activate licenses for all 3,000 of our students. We just activate them for the people who actually want them. But everybody has free access and ability to get this. So I recommend everybody go to their parent dashboard, click on credentials, and say, yes, I want these free resources. Because now I'm going to show you some of those cool free resources that you can get when you have that credentials spot checkmarked for the licenses. So the parent dashboard, after you're off the parent dashboard, one of the tabs across the top, I've got more here than you have, but the resources tab is really valuable. A lot of people just go to the resources on our website, I'll show you that spot next, and forget about the resources tab in Brightways. But the difference between them is our website is public for anybody to be able to see. Brightways is only accessible by enrolled families. So the resources that we have linked there often will have a special link for enrolled families to be able to utilize it, or a special login information. Not only like Brain Pop is available to anybody, but it's linked here also, just as a reminder to families that it's there. But one example is here, Enchanted Learning. Enchanted Learning is an awesome website, super duper cool. I'm going to open it up just so you can see what it looks like. When you click on it, it's going to put it in the username and password based on what we had there in Brightways. But again, that's just for Raven families, which is why it's there. We don't want to be spreading our username and password around to everybody. But once you log in, you can get access to all of these resources through Enchanted Learning that are only accessible to subscribers. We have subscribed as the school for you to have free access using our information. And here you can see there's just like browse over 40,000 plus worksheets, printouts, crafts, activities, more major subjects. You can browse all the content, timely stuff. There's so many fun, amazing resources on here. Different subjects, different age theme things. It's really, really valuable. And so few people utilize it because they don't realize it's there, but it's free to you. A couple of different times they've wondered, like, is it worth keeping our subscription active? Yes, we want our families to use it. It's really, really cool. So I would encourage you, click that link, utilize that resource. Enchanted Learning is just fantastic. And so that's an example of one of those ones that's only shows on the resources tab in Brightways because you have to have that special Raven login information to get there. Some have discounts where because of being with Raven you can get a discount to it. Those are listed there. Let's Go Learn is a really cool one for online diagnostic reading and math assessments. And we can get those set up for you. They're a vendor with us and we can do that. All sorts of stuff. Testing prep, other resources, really great stuff. So don't forget about that Brightways Resources tab for some of those special deals, special things. One of them here is the Children's Technology Review. I'm asking our principal about if we're going to be renewing our license for that because I clicked on that one and it right now says your license expired in 2017. So it's been a little while since we've utilized that, but I think it was a family years ago who recommended it to us and said this is a great. It might have even been you. I thought of that. I think you might have been the one years ago because it gives you like all this information about all sorts of different like math apps and reading games and activities and like all sorts of different stuff. So you can see like, is it worth buying this or is it free? Like you can do searches by cost if it's free or if it's under a certain amount or whatnot. So I'm hoping I'll be able to promote it enough because our principal's like, I have no idea what that is. I have not heard of it. I said, well, let me tell you about it because it was been a long time ago that we got it first set up. So I'm hoping we'll renew that. But you can still click on it. It'll show you the parts that you can access without your license. I'm hoping we'll get that renewed. So resources tab in Brightways, super useful. The other resources are right on our website. There's a tab that says resources. If you just click on resources, it kind of takes you to a blank page. What you want to do is hover over it so you can see all the drop-down options here. There's a lot of different stuff. The curriculum one is very minimal as far as like, there's tons more curriculum out there than that. I don't know why certain ones are on there and other ones aren't, because there's a few on there that I've never had any of our families use here in the last 10 years. But it's available there. The one that I particularly wanted to point out was this enrichment opportunities. Nope, just kidding, not enrichment opportunities. Websites, wrong one. I looked at that one and was like, no, that's all really old information. This one is kind of like the Brightways Resources tab where it's got information and links to all these different places. And so this is a really good one to go to. And I also have this on the list here of some of the different ones that you have access to because they are amazingly cool, like Adobe Creative Suite. Did you know that your student can have free access to the whole Adobe Creative Suite through Raven? They can. That's part of that licenses checkbox in Brightways. When you look there, there's a box for Microsoft Office 365 and there's a box for Adobe Suite. And you can have free access to both of them by just checking that box or picking up the phone and saying, Holly, can you turn on my license? I want this. It takes 5 seconds to check the box. So the link to be able to log into Adobe Creative Suite is right there. AKCIS and AKCIS Junior, super cool websites for career planning, finding out interests of what the kids have, all sorts of learning style stuff. Yeah. Really, Alaska Geographic.
And then searching for can I just ask real quick? Where was that link to get into the Adobe Creative and the Microsoft 365? Because I just bought Adobe Creative like a week ago.
So it's on our website. If you go to the hover over the resources tab and then click on websites, that'll take you to the whole list of your helpful websites and resources.
Okay, thank you.
On screen, or are you just listening? When you're on your phone, are you watching us also, or are you just listening?
Oh, I'm on the phone.
Okay, so you're just listening. So you can't see.
I'm writing down notes.
Yeah, Yeah, so if you hover over resources and then click on websites, that's where it's at. So this is a really useful link of a list. So if you lose my little sheet that I made here for you, or can't find the link for this, that's where you can also get this information. Another thing on our website that's super cool is our specific office page. So if you go hover over offices and then click on Juno, this is the portion of the website that we have access to editing ourselves. And so this is where we've added a lot of really useful information for our families. On our homepage, we obviously need a new picture here because Sashi's no longer with us. Kellen is. So we have not had a chance to get a group staff picture, but we'll be getting that soon, hopefully, to get it on there. And we've got our address, our office hours. If you scroll down, it's got pictures of all of us. Our activities brochure for the year, 1920. I need to update that. I've taught Kellen how to help me now, so I can show him how to fix that for us. I've obviously not been on here a while, but like this spot right here, click here to sign up. This is a link to all of our activity signups. So if you click there, you'll be able to see all of our upcoming activities and sign up right there. It also shows upcoming events based on our calendar. Kellen has now trained in how to update that for us, so he's going to be keeping it updated. He just went in and added all kinds of stuff for September. So today, right here, Homeschool Strategies for Success Parent Workshop.
Oh my gosh.
It's right there.
Live.
On our homepage there. Tomorrow, office closes early at 1:30. So if you want to see some upcoming things, just in a quick scroll, it's right there on the home part of our Juno Office tab. Lots of great stuff right there. That's just the home tab piece. Sorry, I'm scrolling kind of fast. Then we've got the full calendar. If you click on that, you can see the calendar view with, month by month. And Kellen, now that he knows how to do it, is going to be keeping that updated. He's putting the links in there for information on the s'more flyer that relates to it, how to RSVP, dates and times, that information, if there's a link to join virtually. I only added that today, so he didn't have a chance to, put that piece in. But it's all linked on the flyer, so you click on the flyer, and then you have the link for that. So, calendar, very useful there. Photo gallery is kind of fun. I haven't updated in a little while, but there's pictures of some of our past fun activities. You can see some cool stuff. If you're pointing somebody to Raven and saying, hey, Raven's cool, look at all the fun stuff we do, you can say, go check out our website and look at some of the pictures, Or if you want to just kind of like, just have some reminiscing time of some, fun things. I mean, check out some of these kids who've already graduated now.
Yeah.
See some fun different things that we've done, or go, hey, we haven't done that in a while. Remind us, how can we get that set up again? So the photo gallery is kind of cool there. Our office library, this is a link where you can see the books that we have in our library here in the office. You can search by title, you can search by author, which is the creator. You can look up a location, like if you're like, I want to see what kind of graphic novels they have. Well, just scroll down here to graphic novels, and you can see we've got 139 titles in our graphic novels category. Click on that, and then you can browse through it and see what have you got. It's amazing. We've got lots of stuff in there. And if you don't see something in there that you want added, or you're like, oh, it'd be really great to have this in the library, let me know. I can try and work on, adding stuff also. The resources list here is where we've got our quick list for vendors for purchase orders. A lot of people are like, are they set up as a vendor or not for purchase order? Take a quick peek there. The vendor list here, the Raven vendor list is like the full, all of our local vendors who are set up. And preschool curriculum list, that's got some ideas for preschool curriculum. The new vendor packet is here. If you're like, I want to help get somebody else set up, they're not on the list, let me, get them this packet. It's right there, so you can point a vendor here or download it and share it yourself. Somebody recently said, I sure wish there was a list of all the vendors that taught piano lessons. Like, there is. Just go to our website. That's where it is. So it's linked there. We've got a printout and a binder here at the office, but the online one is always being updated. Anytime I get updated information from the vendors, I put it right in there, linked flyers, all that kind of stuff. So all those useful things on our Juno Office tab. I also wanted to show you what Adobe Creative Cloud looks like. It's super cool. Lots of different elements of Adobe that you have access to with your account. Yes. Like, how fun is this? All you have to do is click sign in and use the student credentials that are there in Brightways for you. Same thing with Microsoft Office. I opened mine up so you could see, look at all these different applications through Microsoft that you have access to. Forms, Excel, Delve, I have no idea what that is. Sway is kind of fun. PowerPoint-esque presentations, PowerPoint itself, so many different applications. Of course, Word and Excel, but all of that can be yours with the check of a button box. It's so simple. I wish that everybody used it because it's all free. I know. Do I sound like an infomercial?
That we learned about the other day in our meeting, the Minecraft.
That's the next one.
Okay.
Right here. Next on the list is Minecraft. Minecraft education only costs $5 if you have a Microsoft 365 account, which you do for free. $5 gets you Minecraft education. It's awesome. If you sign up now.
That's not monthly, a one-time thing.
It's
installed basically.
Yeah, it's amazing. So starting at $5 right there. How it works is linked on there. All this information, direct purchase, $5 for a year. And you just use that login information that you had in Brightways on the credentials. So we just learned about that. Was it just yesterday in staff meeting? We didn't know. So perfect timing for us to learn about it so we can share it with you. Let me go back to our handout. Let's see which ones I've covered. I've covered that. Good. We're now on to the reading resources. So these are some really cool things that you can also have for free. Epic is a really neat reading online system, and I have an educator account with them for free, and so students through us can get free access. They have an unlimited option also that you can pay for, but right now there's like a special deal where it's like 65% off or something, so you can actually get like an unlimited version that has even more stuff than just the free version. But through us you can get free access. All you need to do is tell me you want it, and I will. I think I've got your kids set up with it, right?
Yeah, I was having a question though today. Is there a class code?
What is that called?
For that?
Yep. There's a class code, and I have that on. Nope, I need to write it on the sheet. I printed out a flyer about it, so I can show you when you're leaving. But it has. Where does it say my class code?
The class one, is that pretty much unlimited? Because we did get into it, but we got into the free version using my email, and then it was only one book a day. Is that with the educator account? I think it's just during school hours, right?
Right. So part of it is the timing.
It still has a limit on the time for educators.
Well, so what it is that you have free access to as much as you want during school hours, and a limited amount of time after school hours.
Yeah, this is during the day though. I think I was not in
ours. Okay.
I was on like our old account, or anyone can sign up for a free account and only one book a day.
Right.
I think.
Yeah. So through us, you should have, and I'm trying to see the little student. Oh my God.
What's the name of it?
Our class code is JEY4917. And then I have to like set up the student in it, so then when you go to that class code, then you pick your kid's name from the list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they'll still be
And they should still be in there. I looked at my roster today and I saw, the kids are all there. And we've still got some that have been reading consistently. But they have both audiobooks and regular, ebooks. And there's...
I really like the read to me.
Yes.
Because it highlights the word. So for my little guy who's kind of struggling reading fluency and stuff, just to be able to see the words and hear them, just that repetition, because I get tired of reading with him and reading. It's really hard to point at one word at a time when you're reading, because you're just kind of going along. So,
yeah.
So that's a good, easy.
Read to me.
So we'll do it for
Is there an age, like is there a grade level, or is it all grades? Or?
All grades. There's all different levels of stuff.
There are books that you that don't read T2, so that are higher in level.
Yeah.
So you can probably sort it with that Lexile tab.
Yeah, you can look, explore by reading level. I had to pick a grade level that I was a teacher of when I signed up, so I picked 4th grade, but you have access to all of them. It's just because I picked that I was a 4th grade teacher, I just picked somewhere in the middle. That's the one that it like recommends stuff to me and that kind of thing. But if you look here, you can see like all the different Lexile ranges. You have access to all the stuff. It just tries to like, really highlight things that might be accessible or might be, pertinent to your grade level. So because I had to pick one, I picked the middle there. But
And the wonderful thing, if you take maps, then your Lexile level will be listed on your map scores.
right, so you can know what level to be looking at that way. They have comics, you can look at specifically categories, read to me, videos, audiobooks. Really a fun thing.
So Holly, if a parent wanted to sign up for that, would they notify you?
Yep, if they just email me, then I will set up their student and send them saying, yep, it's all set up for you, and here's the link. It's really simple.
Can preschoolers get added?
Yeah.
Because Carolyn doesn't.
Oh yeah, I can add her on now. Definitely.
Is it all Scholastic books?
Nope, Epic is separate from Scholastic.
Oh.
So they're all kinds of different books, and they've got some special things that are like books that they themselves have written. There's all kinds of different ones. I Survived, National Geographic. They've got a lot of stuff in there. It's really cool. We were using it some when I was doing the virtual show and tell and story time. I was using some of these and reading so the kids could see the book on the screen. I was sharing my screen, and so we were reading and they were getting to see the pictures, and I was flipping it that way sometimes too. So it worked really well. I thought it was fun. So again, a free thing. This one isn't through Brightways, but just let me know and I'll set you up with an account. Another reading option is the Alaska Digital School Library. Sora is the name of the app that you can get it through. And that, you use the same credentials that are in Brightways, the email address and password, to get free access to that. And I had logged in, but oh no, it's over here. Yeah.
Does this have more or different stuff than the regular, Libby Overdrive through Alaska Public Libraries?
Yes, they're two different databases, yeah. So I have both Alaska Digital School Library and Alaska Digital Library. And those ones have audiobooks and ebooks. And with this one, you can only, there's a certain number of copies, and you have to be on, a waiting list for it. You can check out an unlimited number of things, but there's a waiting list for them. Some things are available always, like a lot of classics. They have an unlimited, amount of them. But that's how the Sora Alaska Digital Library works. Hoopla is through the Juneau Public Library.
More available, yeah.
Right. So those ones, and as many people as want can check it out, but you can only have 3 checkouts during the month. So what's kind of nice is if you have access to all of them, you can kind of move between them and use all those different things.
But also, if you get your kids their own cards, they each get 3 checkouts on Hoopla.
Yeah.
But I've done that. I've gotten them the cards, but then I don't have the time and brain space to set up the separate Hoopla accounts. But it is a way to get more checkouts.
Right.
I just haven't done it.
Several other parents have said the same thing. They're like, I have one, my husband has one, my son has one, and he uses all 9 of our checkouts in the month. So I had a hard time getting in because I had my library card number wouldn't work. And so I was having trouble like, oh, why is this not working? And so I called the library and they reset it for me really fast. It was because I hadn't actually physically gone in and checked out a book in a while.
So it was inactive.
It was inactive, so it wouldn't register there. So if you have a library card but haven't done anything with it in a while, just give them a call. They can fix it really fast. And that's free too. So, Epic and Sora, the Alaska Digital Library, and Hoopla, all really great resources for books, audiobooks, ebooks, ways of digitally reading. Obviously, it's nice to be able to have a physical book in your hand, and you can come check those out from our library here. But sometimes, having other ways and resources and stuff like that. Then I think the last one on my list specifically to show you is MobiMax. This is something new that just came about yesterday. Again, at our staff meeting, we now have teacher accounts for each of our offices for MobiMax that we can set up and share for free with all of our families. So every student has access to it. Again, using the credentials that we have in Brightways for you, the username and password there. It's got all K through 8th grade subjects. I guess they're thinking that high schoolers wouldn't necessarily want to do it, but it said you could set them up all the way through 12th grade. So a high schooler who maybe, needs some remediation or wants to check their progress or do some fun, learning skills or maybe brush up on some topics could certainly still log in and do it. I did set up accounts for every one of our students. The preschoolers, I had to set up as kindergartners because it wouldn't accept pre-K as a grade level. So I put all of our preschoolers in as kindergarten so that they can have access to and, do that. So she should be set up. I just got it all done this morning. So they've got math, language arts, early reading, regular reading, phonics, writing, science, social studies, test prep, a whole bunch of printable worksheets that they can do, not just, online. The cool thing about it is that when you first log in, the first thing it has them do is an assessment to pinpoint where they have gaps, where their holes are, that kind of thing. So the first thing when they sign in, it'll say, let's do you can pick what subject you want to start with, and it'll say, let's do a little diagnostic, and it'll walk them through, asking questions, doing different stuff, that kind of a thing. They have different placement tests, skill checkers, benchmarkers, and then that will know where to place them for filling in those different holes and gaps. And so it's intended to help close those learning gaps, identify the holes that they make and help to fill them in. And if you look at some of their reviews and information about it, I learned about them years ago when I first started with Raven, but this is the first that we've had this, free access and stuff. And it's kind of cool. As I was getting everything set up, it said as students log in and complete tasks and, do different stuff, we earn points. And then if you see at the top there, class rewards progress, once we get to 2,000 points, then we earn a free tablet or a free pizza party. So, how fun is that? So, I just got it all set up today for our students. You can use those login credentials that are in Brightways. And I'm working on putting together a flyer to email out to everybody that has the link, the information, how to get started. And I think it's a wonderful resource. I'm so excited that we're going to have this for free for all of our families because that's a brand new thing.
I do have a question about that. So,
yeah.
Are you saying that if the individual student that is going through MobiMax, if they earn 2,000 points during their time working on it, then that student gets a little pizza party?
So it's, I'm not sure how they do it. If they send us, a $25 gift card or something. I'm not sure exactly how they do the free pizza party. So it's like a combined, all the kids, sign me up. All the kids doing activities, earning points. Then if we get to that benchmarker, then we get get to pick the, no, that's not it. Okay. It doesn't have a thing. Oh, there's little badges you can get and, fun little rewards as you do different stuff too on there. So it's kind of like a little incentive that they have, get started, get kids into it. And then, just for signing up, I got a $1 Amazon gift card. Woo, $1 to Amazon.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds like a really neat program, and I was just wondering how that would work for the out-of-town students.
It should work. The whole design of this is actually set up for a classroom. Right. So the classroom in itself is earning points.
Right.
And reaps the benefits. But being an outlying family and student, you're equally accessible to it,
right?
Contributing.
We have a unique URL code that is MobiMax, and then our AK458 is our the end part of it that'll take them right to the Raven one, and then you use your username and password to get in. So, like I said, I'm finishing up the flyer for that. Not sure if I'll get it out today or tomorrow with the early release for the holiday, but at least by early next week, I'll be getting that out so everybody has access, knows what you can be doing and getting. And then the last thing on this resources list is just some other fun sites to explore. Some of them are free, some of them are low cost, but there's some other ones that we've gotten lots of recommendations from different families of, hey, I use this website, it's really fun, or hey, this is cool for kids. Night Zookeeper is one that a parent told me about, and now I'm on their distribution list, and they said fun, like Friday, they send what's the word when you're trying to like thought-provoking, like starter question or something for writing. Prompt, that's the word. They send a little Friday thinking prompt of like, whatever. And some of them are really funny. So lots of different resources there, just some quick things, check it out. Like I said, I'll link this document in the weekly newsletter tomorrow also, so you can just click on the links versus having to type them all in from the handout there. And then maybe I'll add it onto our Juno Office tab also, so it's in that resources link of like, here's some helpful resources and lists of things there too. Any questions about all the random resources I shared?
So, okay, so it all is accessible with our email and our.
The credentials that are listed there in Brightways for each of the students. So each student has their own credentials. Parents, you just got to kind of like go through one of your kids' ones, but that way they can each have their own stuff. The only one that's not is that Epic, where I have to set that up differently because they generate their own little, password stuff.
What is on MobiMax mostly? Is it like learning videos or is it like quizzes?
Like what's the actual learning style look like?
Yeah, like once you do the placement test, what's available? Like mostly worksheets or is it?
I think they're all interactive videos
Interactive,
and
okay.
quizzes and like games to play and practice stuff. They actually had games that we could set up for like the whole class for groups to like challenge each other and that kind of stuff. So I'll have to look into that some more of like, for maybe some of our grade level activities that we're doing on our Marvelous Mondays of like, okay, here's a game for our, middle schoolers. Let's all play this game together and see what we can do. And it says that there's something where it like helps it to be, it said something about like a golf handicap so that nobody would just like wipe everything out, with everybody else. Like you're going to be challenged too. It's not going to be just like super crazy easy for one person and not for another. Like it'll make sure that it's fair. So I thought it was kind of cool. So like I said, I was just heading into it today. I just got it all set up this morning. So everybody will have access. So I'm working on the flyer and that kind of thing. I want to make sure I kind of knew about it, but I still need to dive in more deeper since I just got my account set up this morning. But it looks really neat, and the fact that it has that targeted gap stuff where it's like, first do that and then practice and do those things, and then you can do another, assessment, see, okay, have we filled in those gaps and move on. And if you look at their website, they've got some different information. Sorry, going late. It's got some cool information on their website about like, just kind of students that are, preparing them for testing and filling in gaps and like students trying to catch up if they're behind or get ahead. Like, my student accelerated 3 grades in a year by this targeted instruction to filling in the holes of what they had. So it looks like a great resource, and the fact that we get it for free for the whole year, we have free access until June 30th for the entire school year. So pretty impressive. Hopefully those resources are useful and valuable to everybody. Any other Q&A before we wrap up? Any other Q&A from online? Looks like we're down to just us. All right, well.
Nobody online anymore.
Yep, there's handouts in case anybody wants them. We'll just leave them out on the tables for a while.
All right, I'm going to end our recording here.
Oh, thank you.